Hi guys, and welcome to TechFurb. Today we are doing a personal rig update, so let's get into it. Okay, so personal rig update. 2018, almost 2019. So reason why I'm doing an update is because I got a brand new motherboard. So this is the guy here. You can see on the camera, nice and yep, that'll do because lighting is not great. It's an ASRock AB350 gaming K4 motherboard. I've used this previously in a previous build for my little brother. And the reason why I got the board was two reasons. It was on clearance sale for like 80 bucks, and second reason being my current motherboard actually is an MATX board, and it kind of limits my overclock, so I can only get 3.7 gigahertz on that motherboard. So, wanting to go proper ATX motherboard and just have a little bit more expandability, a few more options, that's why I'm doing this build log, I guess. So the other reason is the case that it's in doesn't really work very well with my water cooling setup. So I had a lot of problems with the graphics card. The tubing was sort of going around the graphics card. It wasn't working very well. So the water cooling kit came out and in went the soft cooler, and I've just been meaning to get around to putting it into a case that's capable of taking water cooling, which is where this case comes in. So old case, it's a Cosmos 1000 from Cooler Master. That was manufactured in like 2007 if I remember correctly. Reason why I chose this case is one, I had it on hand. I got it as a part of a bunch of parts I got a while ago, and it's been sitting there, it's been gathering dust, and I don't want to sell it because it's kind of a nice case, and the other reason is it will take the water cooling kit. So can take a 240mm rad in the top, 280 rad, but I have 240, it'll take it. There's perfect clearance, so I can have the fans, the rad in there, no problems, doesn't get in the way of anything. The pump res can actually mount properly. There's a little spot in there just above the 3.5 inch hard drive bays, which, touch wood somewhere, it doesn't leak, but the fittings are pretty tight. I trust them pretty well. It hasn't leaked on me yet, and I made sure those fittings were super tight before I'm putting it in there. So that will mount in there perfectly. So it's got a little spot, you'll see when I do the build. And most importantly, the graphics card, it won't have to gangly go around the graphics card anymore. I can just grab cards in and out, in and out, in and out as I please. So that's why we're going with this case. Now, I'll rattle off the specs very quickly before we do the build. So we are doing a Ryzen 7 1700 with my old chip. We're going to try and overclock it to 3.9 gigahertz with the EK Waterbox cooling kit I have. Motherboard, as I said, is the ASRock Fatality AB350 Gaming K4. RAM is 32 gigabytes of DDR4 Corsair Vengence LPX blah blah 2666 megahertz RAM. Graphics card we'll be putting in there initially is a Radeon RX 480 8 gig. Reason for that is I don't use that as much for benchmarks. I try and use my 1050 and 1080 as much as I can, which means that's why the 480 is going in there. So yep, that's the graphics card, and power supply will be a 750 watt, just my Thermaltake one that I have. Blu-ray drive will be going in there. That's kind of cool for me. We've also got a 3TB hard drive, 256 gig NVMe boot drive, 256 gig SSD for the scratch disk for Premiere and that sort of stuff. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much the core components. So let's get into this build. Okay, so loop's in now, guys. I'm half thinking to fill it up, I'm half thinking not. I think I want to fill it up now because if I get all the parts in and I find out there is a leak, I've got to take it all back out, dry it all off, and it's just more downtime that I don't need. So let's start putting some water in the loop and fingers crossed that it doesn't leak. Okay guys, so loop's finished now. All together, water's in it. As you saw, I had to take it out, fill it up a little bit, then I put it back in. And it's running just fine now. You can't really hear it. There was a lot of bubbles going before, but the loop is running. It just looks like it's got all the air bubbles out of it. Now what we're going to be doing is basically we're going to run this loop for about an hour or two. I'm going to go do something else and then come back to it. And now, I know you're supposed to leave it for about 24 hours, but I've used this loop before, and quite frankly I just don't want to wait, so it's on me if it fails. But I'm going to leave it for a little bit, let it run, make sure it's not getting any weird drips or leaks. It would be pretty obvious pretty quick if there is a leak, given that water is very good at escaping things when it gets the opportunity. So I'm pretty happy with how that's gone. We're going to get the rest of the build finished when I come back in a couple of hours, and looking forward to it. It's looking good so far. I really wish I did have a side panel window in this case, because that motherboard looks really, really freaking good with the RAM, and that water cooling setup in its current form is looking beautiful. So yeah, let's take a break and we'll be back with some more building in a couple of hours. Alright guys, so loop's split in now, and basically we're going to start finishing off the build now. So we're obviously missing a power supply, graphics card, hard drives are not there, fans are not there, Blu-ray disc isn't there, but the water cooling setup is there and it's not leaking, which is fantastic. Generally ideal not to have water in your computer, it just generally means that it works. So I have my lovely camera lady there behind the camera, and we're going to start building the rest of this computer. Okay, so bit of a roadblock, and this was bound to happen working on a case that was made in 2007. So far it's been pretty good. I mean, the cable management's not great, but the biggest problem I have right now is in 2007 there was no such thing as a 2.5 inch hard drive. There was no such thing as a 2.5 inch SSD, at least I don't recall there being one. So herein lies my first big problem that I'm going to have. I need to find a way to mount this in here. Now I could just do it the dodgy way, but I really want to do it properly. I'll figure it out. Do double side tape. Alright guys, so nothing a little blue tack and cable ties can't fix. Pretty much the method that people have used since the invention of cable ties and blue tack. Anyway, let's move on. guys, so that's it. We're done. Build finished. RX Roadie is in there. The water cooling loop is in there. It's working, or it was working last time we turned it on. The power supply is in there. I'm hoping that's still good. I haven't used it in a while. SSD was very jerry-rigged mount, but it works. Hard drive's in there. We've got our Blu-ray drive in there, and I am ready to fire this guy up. Alright guys, so we've got it all plugged in now. I haven't fired this up yet, so I don't even know if this is going to work. Now, I've actually removed this little plate here because I need to see if the pump's actually working, because if the pump isn't working, it's going to overheat very quick. So, let's see if it turns on. I wired up the power button correctly, that's good. And the pump is running, that's fantastic. So, just having a look at these screens over here. We should get a post. Hopefully, this board has never been used, so it may actually not even work. So, hopefully it works. It's taking a while there. Oh, there we go. Hey, alright, it's fired up. Awesome. So let's... Oh, it's too quick. Let's see if it even boots into Windows. It may boot into Windows because I haven't actually wiped the hard drive, so it could theoretically still work. Alright guys, so we're into Windows now. Everything seems to be working bar one thing, but we'll go over that in a second. Temperatures are pretty stable. We're not getting any overheating happening, which means that the cooling system is working a-okay. One issue we are having is that my network drivers appear to be not working correctly. So what happened was I plugged it in, I've gone to connect to the internet, and I've noticed my network's not working properly. I've tried setting the IP addresses by static IP addresses by ones that I know that should work. Tried replacing the cable, didn't work. Now I have seen this before, and what I believe is happening is the wrong drivers are being loaded from the NIC because I did change the motherboard, and it seems like it's just using the wrong driver by default. So we're going to try installing the right driver, and then once we've done that, we are going to get into some overclocking. Alright guys, so the overclock's done now, and basically all that was involved is two settings on this motherboard. Now unfortunately this, I didn't realise it was when I bought it, but apparently it doesn't have load line calibration, which is quite important for overclocking Ryzen. So it means that I can get a slightly higher overclock than my old motherboard because the VRM again is better, but it means we're limited to 3.8 GHz and have to have the voltage at 1.4 volts, which is kind of like the upper limit of what you want to run Ryzen at. Honestly, I'd rather run at 1.35, but I can't unfortunately do that with this motherboard. It has to stay at 1.4 to sustain that 3.8 GHz overclock. So they're the only two settings we can change. We've put on the XMP profile to the 2666 MHz RAM because again you have to overclock your RAM as well to get the proper speed. And for the NIC issue that I was talking about before, or network interface card, if you're not familiar with the term, basically what ended up happening was I put the driver on there. The driver was correct, but there were some benign networking settings left over from Hyper-V. So basically I went in, reset all the network connections, and then the internet started working. So if you ever get stuck with that, that's how you fix it, just for future reference. So there's only one last thing we need to run, because I understand this video is getting a little bit long. I think we need to do a Cinebench comparison. Alright guys, so Cinebench run, here we go. So the score that I had before, which was from the previous video, 1433, or it was around that mark, that's what I was getting in the old case with the 3.4 GHz overclock. So let's see what we get with 3.8 GHz. Bam! There you go. Man, I wish benchmarks were this quick all the time. It's so slow when I do it with i5s and older CPUs. It's so much quicker with this. But bam, look at that, 1620 Cinebench points. So that is a whole 200 point increase in Cinebench, which is pretty good. Now I have actually been editing most of this video up to this point on the PC. It's running fine. Now with the overclock in its current state, it gets up around the mid-70s with the water cooling loop. Unfortunately, if I try to go any higher than 3.8, the system would just hard lock. So unfortunately, that is the maximum overclock I can get on this motherboard. And I also think my performance has degraded on my Ryzen 7 since I've been overclocking it for about a a year now. So I guess, thanks for watching, guys. Leave a like if you liked it. Leave a dislike if you disliked it. Comments down below if you have anything to say. Thanks to my lovely camera lady there, manning the camera film. She's rolling her eyes and laughing at me currently. And get subscribed, guys, of course. More content coming. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.